Hello everyone, this is Dexy. In today's video, we're going to be going over my mag build because some people were wondering kind of the specifics of it due to the fact that I have her 4 subsumed over rather than her 3 or her 1. So this is the mod in Arcane configuration. You basically want to max out range as much as possible, something that I'm sure pretty much every mag player does with their builds, because you want to build around your bread and butter, which is her 2. Which unfortunately has a base radius of 4 meters, which is very, very tiny. Some other things that you want to probably know for this specific build is that her 3, because it strips armor in a flat amount rather than a percentage amount like a lot of other armor stripping abilities, corrosive projection will help you a lot, and in general will make it so that you are much more likely to strip enemy armor with a few casts of your Polarize. And in general, just lets you do more damage. You can never go wrong with corrosive protection. Another thing is that the Augur set is pretty good for bolstering your survivability, especially when you are doing your Polarize animation, because you'll get a small amount of shields whenever you initially cast it to hold you over while you are doing the cast animation of your 1. So having at least one Augur mod, which is not hard for mag because you want to max out a range, does increase the survivability by a pretty good amount due to shield gating. Arcane Aegis, in order to increase her shield survivability, and Molt Augmented to, in general, create her effectiveness and scaling when it comes to all things that scale with strength, including her Breach Surge, Polarize, and the damage that her Magnetize deals. The Archon Shards are rather unconventional too. I have 2 casting speed ones to decrease the casting speed of her 3 so that she can get it faster and prevent her from getting killed through it. It also just makes her ability rotation a lot more smooth and faster. Her other shards are Energy Max, which is nice because it gets her over 300 energy, which is typically where you want to be for most Warframe builds. And shield capacity, because this gets up to 200 strength whenever you fully max out your Molt Augmented. It makes it so that you can get 798 shields per cast, which unfortunately the shard does not get you to that amount, but it does increase your base shields, which will make it so that you can take advantage of the increased shield gate. The last one is Effectiveness of Energy Orbs. This is basically here to replace Arcane Energize. If you want to use something else in its place, or hell, even if you want to forego one of the casting speed ones to put something else in, you can very easily do that. But personally, I have it here just for whenever energy economy is looking pretty bleak, because sometimes you do need to spam your Polarize in order to stay alive. So, with that out of the way, all the specifics and such, I will be going over why I decided to subsume over her 4, and why I used her 3 as a primary survival method instead. So, we'll go over what exactly her crush does. Essentially, 100 energy in order to lift up all enemies in an 18-meter radius. Each part of the cast, which there's 3 of them, deal 500 damage and restore 25 shields per enemy hit, with no cap on the enemies. Basically making it so that you can easily max out your overshields with 1 cast of this. Pretty good in that regard. I'm definitely not a bad ability by itself. It's just that I personally think that Polarize is better. And this component right here is the main reason why. So, it's a 1.5 second casting animation, which you can decrease with Fracturing Crush and casting speed, which I obviously have 2 shards dedicated towards. The main thing is that while you are casting this ability, you are completely unable to move and do anything else. While when you are casting your 3, it fortunately lets you basically do anything at all. You can shoot, you can... Here, I'll actually show it. You're able to shoot while you are casting your 3. You can reload while you're casting your 3. You can basically do anything that you want to. And I think that's pretty important for her pacing in general. Another reason why I prefer to use her 3 over Crush is because whenever you kill the enemy that you cast Magnetize on, it removes the suction of Magnetize. And because of that, you are typically fairly reliant on enemies running towards you in order to pull them within lethal range of her Magnetize. And because this ability knocks down enemies and holds them in the air, it kind of messes with the pacing and general usefulness of her Magnetize, which is not very good for her because Magnetize is her bread and butter. It's what makes her so good. So that's the main reason why. That's one reason why. Another is just how many things Polarize does. A lot of people probably do not know what exactly this ability actually has within it, and I was honestly pretty surprised to see a few things within this looking it up for today's video. But essentially it emits a pulse. Any enemy that touches the pulse takes true damage if they have any shields or armor, which obviously true damage is pretty good considering that there are only a few sources of it. On top of that, whenever enemies are hit by the pulse, they also deal damage equal to 250% of the drained shields or armor to all enemies within 4 meters of them. So you can see how this would cause enemies within the magnetized field to start taking a very large amount of damage. But that's not even it. There's another component where it creates a polarized shard that actually has a 50% chance to drop 2 shards. And these shards will be sucked into Magnetize and will start dealing damage to enemies. So Polarize has 3 different components to it, and all of them are capable of dealing its own instance of damage or multiple instances of damage. And in general, this 400 true damage, the 250% of the drained shield or armor, and the polarized shards that are created, it really, really adds up to a lot of damage. But in the simulacrum, this is what happens to these enemies. So pretty good. It basically turns whatever is in that radius, it just basically turns it into a meat grinder. It's extremely good, and you might be wondering why I decided to subsume over Crush instead of her 1. Well, whenever you do create polarized shards, you can actually pull these polarized shards to you with her 1. Because the range of my Polarize with this setup is 50 meters, a lot of times I don't have the time or I don't go over to where I previously was in order to collect the shards. So instead, I just use pull in order to yoink all the polarized shards to me so that I can use it to absorb into the magnetized field. But yeah, that's basically the reason why I subsume over her 4. I'm going to go ahead and put some gameplay up. I want to showcase that it does work. And yeah, so let me know what you think down in the comments. If you have anything to add or anything that you think that I missed, let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
fight, the more successful we will be. The relic has been cracked open. Finish your mission to find out what's inside.